All right. So who are you and what do you do?
My name is Wuba. I started looking at franchising last year, about a year ago now, and I started with like looking at after school programs, and I finally signed a franchise with a childcare service provider, and we're preparing to open one now in Virginia.
Cool. Awesome. And so what was the challenge that you were experiencing before joining the zero to profitable franchise system?
For me, the challenges were information. There was just a lot of information out there, a lot of information out there that you can research on YouTube and watch videos, Google on the internet, and talk to people. There is just so much information I could not narrow down to, figure out what I want. Because everything you see online seems to be attractive, and you're like, oh, this is very like lower cost. Maybe this is something I can do. Or this is home based, so maybe this is something I can do. Like, it sounds doable, but then I didn't consider what do I really want. What's my lifestyle gonna be a year from now or 5 years from now? Will this consider my family's lifestyle? So all of that consideration is learned after I joined the program, because I started with just searching the franchise brands in industries, looking at information data. Um, but then when I start, attending the programs and the video recording and watching all the videos, then I stop everything and start looking at myself, my lifestyle, my goals. That's when I start, you know, seeing things more clearly and like redirect myself into, a different journey.
Awesome. Yeah, some of those exercises are in the beginning are some of the hardest because it really makes you think about things that you never really thought about, and it's sometimes the hardest thing is figuring out what you want. Yeah, sometimes that's the hardest. So I think that's actually probably one of my favorite parts of the program for folks that have never done that sort of exercise before. But so how did you just mentioned a little bit about going through the modules and some of those exercises, but like how did going through the system and attending the calls, and how did that positively impact you through your decision making process and then even after that?
So when I start watching the modules and writing down my why and think about my lifestyle, and then there was this example that was given in the one of the videos, that don't choose a vehicle or something, like choose your destination first. um, then I start thinking about, okay, where do I want to be in a year from now? Will it be okay for me to work weekends? Is that the kind of business that I want? How much is my earning goal? Like how much profit will I be making if I choose franchise X versus franchise Y, or industry X or industry Y, and so on and so forth. So after I had like a mind reset and I start joining the calls, then I start bringing up questions, you know, actual questions from the franchises that I'm looking at. And then like I start realizing, oh my God, yes, this is a low cost franchise, but then it doesn't even make me enough if I take on this, franchise option, and then it becomes a job again. So what's the point? So I start, going back again, and then trying to find other options. So it helped me open my mind into something bigger, something that I didn't think of it before, because then I start thinking about my destination, my lifestyle. I start considering about my family's lifestyle, and so on and so forth. And being able to, you know, listen to other people's in the call, what they're going through, listening to those answers and being able to ask questions myself to get clarity was very helpful for me.
Awesome. Yeah. And can you talk at all about I guess some of the clarity and guidance you got around the real estate process? Because I know once you kind of got to that process, you had hopped on the calls and we talked about some stuff. I think you had put a couple of questions in the Facebook group as well. So if you're able to remember anything that like in terms of what help you got in that area, do you mind just talking a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So we were able to find a location, faster than I expected. And I remember the first thing was I received this LOI from my broker, and I started like looking for the videos. I'm like, oh my God, I have to go find that module to go over, you know, what should I be looking at in this LOI in the first place? Like, because I just don't, take what they tell me to do. I want to understand it. I want to be able to ask questions. So I went back and find the video and go over like, you know, the exclusivity. Um, like, is this business exclusive in this retail shop? There is a specific language in that video that was mentioned in the recording, and I went back and asked my broker to say, why isn't this LOI talk about exclusivity? Like, will there be another childcare business in this retail shop? And then she's like, no problem, we can add it. And then we did. Um, and then the tenant improvement, all the good stuff like asking free rent, line by line from like negotiating how much we can ask. We went back and asked all of that, free rent, 6 months of rent, um, tenant improvement dollars. We asked for, we added a language to say we want this to be exclusive in the shopping center. Um, so it was just, for me, it was just, I had this reference book that I pulled up and like go through and say, okay, now I know. Now I feel educated a little bit before I even, go back and talk to my broker. So that was helpful.
Yeah, awesome, cool. And so, what were the tangible results that you achieved going through the system?
Um, Knowledge. So that's for me to ask the right question. I had to have the right knowledge in the right time. Understanding the basics of the lease negotiation process helped me, make me confident in asking those questions. At the end of the day, we had to make a decision and finalize the lease. But that education helped me negotiate the terms with the lease. Um, the education, the knowledge that I got from other people talking into, the calls, listening to the answers, that's the tangible knowledge that helped me sign the franchise, make my due diligence, and make me feel like comfortable to take the next steps. Every step I took is because I feel like I was ready to take that step. And for that to happen, it's all in your mind that do you feel comfortable or do you, are you still scared to pull the trigger? If you have enough guidance, um, if you have, you know, a simple conversation with somebody, even the group calls, you just let it out or you hear other people go through the same, then it gives you that sense of, feeling like, okay, this is okay. It's okay to take the next steps. So that thought, that knowledge helps you to take the next steps to to change idea to practice.
Hmm. And so what would you tell someone who just kind of remembering uh back to where you were in that moment of, talking to Chris on my team, and the, feeling nervous, skeptical, like this sounds like a lot of money, like do I really want to do this? Will it be worth it? What would you tell someone who's considering, investing into the zero to profitable franchise system?
I think it's the commitment. Before I start this thought of going into franchise, I was committed to make a change, but then the decision making was very hard. Like, which direction should I be going? What, like, should I just be signing up, with somebody who I never knew to coach me through this process? It was a lot of like skepticism in my mind. Like, I wasn't sure, you know, whether I should do it or I should not do it. What if it's not, it's not worth it? Like, so the conversation I had was like, there's this guarantee. I watched a lot of, I mean, for me, it was more of like what I've saw on YouTube videos, what I've read tells me enough that this person knows enough about the topic. What do I have to lose if I take the next steps? Even if I lose X, Y, and Z, worst case scenario, I at least educate myself into something and then take the next steps. There's just no guarantee in life, honestly. There's just no guarantee. Like, even 100% guarantee is not always 100% guarantee. There is always 99%, right? There is always that, slightest chance that you are not going to get 100%. But then you have to take chance. You have to take chance and see. I mean, I can spend, I know it's not, little money, but I would be spending $2,000 whether I know it or not, just by making simplest mistake. By not asking the right question might cost me like $10,000. So you're just I thought about it as if like I'm paying this for a course. Any program that we pay, like Microsoft or like an online training program, they're not going to guarantee you're going to be like an Excel expert. If you take an Excel, like a 6 month Excel class, there's no guarantee. They want you to put the work that, they want you to practice if you want to become an Excel expert, or if you want to become any software or anything really. Like, it's up to you to make it perfect. It's up to you to make yourself an expert. But then if you don't practice or you don't pay for the program, there's no certification, there is no education. You're just you with nothing. So um, I just had to give it a try, because at least I'm educating myself with something, whether I sign up with something or not. At the end of the day, it's an education.
Mm. Awesome. Thank you. Well, I'm really proud of you. I think it's taken a lot of courage for you to step out of your comfort zone, right? This process is not easy. It's not linear either, right? And I know you're accustomed to, working with numbers, right? And it's hard. This process is not just a logical process, right? If so, everyone would do it. You could see any sort of pro forma and go, okay, I can do that, and then pull the trigger. So, I'm proud of you for stepping out of your comfort zone, stepping into the fear. I mean, you've just been making decision after decision after decision that's outside of your comfort zone and taking leaps of faith. And yeah, kudos to you, because the growth doesn't happen without doing that. And you could have just as easily not joined. You could have easily said, this is too overwhelming, and stopped your process. But here you are, you did it, and the path is unfolding in front of you, which is one of the things that I always say, if you take the jump, like the path will start to unfold. And I think you're seeing that, right? I mean, what a unique situation that that opened up for you. That is not common at all, but I think it's perfect for you. The fact that that location was available and the circumstance that came up. So yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much. I remember. I just want to add something. I remember like first time I read an FDD. I reached out to my broker and I said, "Are you gonna be walking me through this FDD? This is so scary. This is so overwhelming. Like, how am I gonna like accept all of this complicated language in this? It's supposed to be simple English, and that's how they're supposed to write FDDs, right? So that anybody can understand it. But it's just going through that was so overwhelming. Um, when after I joined the program, FDD becomes more conversational,
Mm,
not just a document that I have to read through and absorb and say like, now I understand everything. So I put that on the side. Instead it becomes conversational, like people will say, or I would say, or you would say, you might see in FDD like, item 19 talks about X, Y, and Z, like this is how you go about validating the numbers. Item 21 talks about like the, I don't know, the list of current franchisee, or like a financial statement of the current company, and so on and so forth. That breaks it down into pieces in my head, and then I say like, oh, now I know, where to focus on. Like I don't have to like overwhelm myself into this whole book of franchise document. And I think that was very helpful because it scares people off. It scares people off. I've read contracts in my day job, a lot of government contracts. um, But when it comes to FTD, you're signing it for yourself. Yes, and you want to understand every sentence in that document, and it's scary. So that conversation in the calls with people, and people asking questions, and you breaking it down or talk about your experience and what to look for. Um, I think was very helpful.
awesome.